There's university presidents, and then there's Dr. Jim Henderson. An emphatic steward of the brand, Dr. Henderson helps us usher in the university's 100th homecoming. A salute to family, athletics, and of course, a proud university. Strap in, the Tech Drive starts now. Voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schasberger with you, and welcome to another edition of Tech Drive. Our university president is with me on a very, very special edition, a homecoming installment of Tech Drive. You might be Tech's biggest fan. It's Dr. Jim Henderson. Dr. Henderson, thank you so much for carving out some time during such an important week for the university.
Well, just glad to be here, Kyle, and welcome officially to Ruston and to the Louisiana Tech family as the voice of the Bulldogs. And this Tech Drive podcast is just I think it's surpassed Smartless as the number one podcast in America. That might be a hyperbole, but it's heading that way, right?
It absolutely is. I feel slightly underdressed, but you know what? I'm donning the glasses. I feel like we're on the same sort of sophistication level here. And in addition to being Tech's biggest fan, I mean, you have quite the resume and quite the background from a family standpoint in terms of your connections to Tech. And we'll get into that. Obviously, the special connection and tethering of DNA between Joe Aillet and of course your father. But let's start with the centennial event that we have this week. It's 100 years of homecoming for the university. Headlined, of course, by Friday night's Halloween football game against Sam Houston. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Our Tech tailgate will start at 5:30 along the network. But what does homecoming signify for you?
Well, you know, so it's a centennial homecoming, right? So that carries a lot of weight with it. 100 years of homecoming. And this one's a little bit different for us at Tech. It's on a Friday night, which has never happened, and I know that is an imposition on certain folks. And, because of the Conference USA television package, we were faced with having a early September homecoming, which is right when students come on campus, wouldn't work. The next Saturday night that could have been homecoming would have been the one that after students go home for Thanksgiving. So we put as much pressure as we could and really advocated for our position. And Conference USA and Judy McLeod, to their credit, worked and got the game moved to Friday. So this was the best option for us, and we're going to make the most out of a Halloween Friday night here in Joe Aillet Stadium and get a victory for our fans and have a wonderful homecoming where alumni can come back, see all the changes that are happening on this campus, and we can celebrate the Louisiana Tech family appropriately.
You're the 15th president in this university's history, named that on January 1st, 2024. That's last year. Closing in on 2 years now in your post. How have you and your wife, Tanya, enjoyed the ride thus far?
You know, I mean, a little anecdote just to put that a nice little top on that. She was talking about visiting with the football team later this week. We're going to have a good conversation with them, and she says, I just feel like I should bring cupcakes. So she'll spend the rest of the day and tomorrow making 196 cupcakes. Everybody can have two. And
so she has acclimated herself well. She knows she has to take care, feels the responsibility, the urge to take care of others.
She is the perfect partner for this work. I personally feel 10 years younger, being back with students, being back with student athletes, being with faculty that really tap into that intellectual curiosity, that are advancing our students, advancing research. There is no better place to be in this world than on a university campus. And when that university campus happens to be Louisiana Tech, that's the best it can be.
When is Tanya making her mascacholi again? Because I got to get in on that.
You know, so she made her South Louisiana version of that. They call it muscacholi, and a little Cajun accent. And when she heard that on the podcast with Scott Matera, she goes, well, I can make that. And so we had the volleyball girls over. It was a special night. She made a South Louisiana seafood gumbo for them, made a little muscacholi for the side. Juju, our wonderful volleyball player from Italy, is very passionate about food, as you can imagine someone an Italian would be. And she took her first taste of Tanya's seafood gumbo with that Gaydon roux, and she openly wept at the table. And I said, you know, I don't know if there's a better compliment a chef could get, but Tanya and I are thriving in this environment. We love all things about Louisiana Tech, the Louisiana Tech family. It's been just a delight.
Let's talk about some of the events that we can expect for homecoming. There's a pep rally on Thursday night. There's a parade. There's the Tech retreat, which is phenomenal because my 10-year-old daughter is going to be in town, coming down from North Carolina, so we'll take part in that. We'll do our coaches show over at the Student Center at noon with Sonny Cumby and a variety of other guests on Thursday of homecoming week. That's October 30th. I know there's, I think, an alumni awards luncheon that's going on at the same time over at the DAC. But really, it starts on Monday. It's a week-long event. There's a lot of goodwill, good service type acts, donations that are going on in the community as well. But it's wall-to-wall celebrating Louisiana Tech, homecoming, and, of course, its ties to the community.
That's right. For us, it really starts Sunday night. We have the homecoming court coming to the house, and Tanya's pretty adamant that when people come to our house, we do the cooking. And so I'll be grilling some fillets for them. She'll be making her, oh my gosh, her trademarked crab soup, which is the most amazing thing you will ever taste. It is opulent in its flavors and its complexities. So they'll get to enjoy that. And Jim and Margaret Davidson are joining us. Jim, of course, is our alumnus of the year who'll be honored Friday. But it's important for this current group of student leaders that have been identified by their peers to see what a Tech graduate can do. I can't find a better example than Jim and Margaret. And so they'll spend some time with us. And then the week is going to go by quickly. With events almost every single day celebrating Louisiana Tech. We've mentioned it's the 100th homecoming. If you go to the ROP Center, in that front area, Kathleen Hayden and her group from fashion design and merchandising has put up a 100 years of homecoming display that is just absolutely beautiful. Right? And then there's remnants, artifacts from the 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up till today. And you really get a flavor for what homecoming can be. And then if you look at the little special things that we're going to lean in on the Halloween theme, might even be a couple of videos that capture that. We told them to leave the cobwebs up in the corners of the stadium, just for the aesthetics. And Sam Houston's going to come in here wearing their orange Halloween color, and we're going to make the most of that as well. So I couldn't be more excited about homecoming week and all the festivities, and what a great time to celebrate this remarkable institution.
Absolutely. And on Halloween, certainly it presents some challenges, but at the same time, it presents an opportunity on a Friday night. And the ROP Center, I was going to ask you about that. That was really cool because I was looking at some of the images, all these fashion trends just memorialized over the last 100 years. That's awesome. That's actually already started even, I think, a week prior, but that's running through homecoming week. If you have questions on any of the events, any of the things you can access, make sure you access the official Louisiana Tech University website. Just put it in the Google machine. You can search it as well. You'll find it. LaTechSports.com will provide you with a lot of the athletic events because volleyball is playing a couple of matches also on Friday and Saturday in conjunction with what is going on with football. Opulent. I have wrote that down. Yeah. I'm going to try and work that into my Friday night broadcast somehow, some way against the Bearcats. That is a $5 word, and you can have it for free. This one's pro bono. Well, I really do appreciate that. Hat tip to you. Formerly the president, CEO of the UL system. Your academia experience goes back to your presidency at your alma mater, Northwestern State. You were also the chancellor of Bossier Parish Community College previously. The latest opportunity, though, your charge at Louisiana Tech University, I know carries so much personal significance to you because of your parents. That's right. My dad graduated in '48, and at the 100th homecoming a display we have in the ROP Center, they had a 1943 lanyard, they have a 1947 lanyard. So I got to see the pre-war picture of him, the post-war picture of him, and that post-war picture of the guards from that would have been the fall of '46. That picture was taken. He was probably 3 months back from Japan at that moment, hardened face of a 2nd Division Marine Corps warfighter. It still gives me chills. And he was part of that group that, that Joe Aillet created the world's first military-friendly university. It's a designation that everyone strives for today. Well, he did it before it was cool. When those athletes went to him in the spring of 1943 and said, hey, we have to go serve. And they all went. Some went to Europe, some went to the South Pacific, some served here at home. But in the fall of 1946, all 22 of them came back. And Coach Aillet had held their scholarships. He had written to them every month, and he fulfilled his promise that he would be here when they returned. And growing up around that group, in our suite, we have that painting from Nicole DeWitt that she did of that picture of the guards. Includes Tony Salvaggio. I called him Uncle Tony. Includes Mike Reed. I called him Uncle Mike. And of course my father, and so many other great representatives of Louisiana Tech. So that's huge for me. And Dad bled red and blue. But then you come back into the 50s, and we don't talk as much about my mother, though she was so accomplished in academia herself. But two-time Tech grad, 1959, 1968 with her master's degree. Rode the bus from Hodge,
Louisiana, the 18 miles here. You can see that paper mill from my office, the south-facing windows, where her father and her brother worked, probably a combined 80 years. But she would ride the bus from Hodge here every day. And then when she graduated, started teaching at Fair Park High School, and that's when she saw Dad coming in from summer football practice with his shorts on, and you know how high those shorts were in those days, buddy. They were, so he had those tan legs and those thick calves, and so she fell in love immediately, and that was the beginning of their journey. But both just remarkable parents, both believed in education for others, certainly instilled that in their sons. Dad would wake us up every morning at 6 o'clock during the summer so we could start doing our math work before we'd go out and work in the yard or work around the farm that we had, and tremendous way to grow up. But parents were everything, and the tech foundation for their parentage was solid.
Sure, I appreciate you sharing. I want to drill down on a couple of those items that you just spoke about. Your father, Clem, recruited and played for the legendary football coach
right.
Joe Aillet, and Martha, the two-time Tech grad. And in your suite, you touched on all the items that you have, kind of memorializing your father's time here playing for Joe Aillet and the lanyard. We got a couple of those displayed, along with the 1894 magazine and the book that Chris Kennedy.
This wonderful Chris Kennedy book, Joe Aillet.
On Joe Aillet himself. So many great history lessons in that book. I've done a lot of studying, a lot of reading, trying to immerse myself in as much every corner, of this university and its athletic history. But it's so impressive what you have in your suite, because that nostalgia of that time period just smacks you upside the face in the best of ways. What position was it that your father played?
He played guard, and when he came back from the war, he was right next to this strapping young freshman, weighed 220 pounds. His name was Leo Sanford, and Coach Aillet was an innovator. He would pull the guard and the center as lead blockers. And the first time they ran the play, Dad slapped Leo on the thigh and said, "All right, fat man, try to keep up." And Leo, just being just a phenom, a phenomenal athlete, Dad said all he saw was the back of Leo's jersey running down the field. And of course, Leo went on to have a great career with Chicago Cardinals first, and then went on to the Baltimore Colts, played in the greatest game, was interception return, playing linebacker, playing both ways, snapped the ball to Johnny Unitas, and we lost Leo almost 2 years ago now. But growing up around those guys, the legendary Mike Reed. Mike was picked when they beat Ole Miss 7-6. He was picked on their all-opponents team by the Ole Miss players for just being the toughest, scrappiest, nastiest player that they played. And that I was fortunate enough to get to know those guys. That before the war, Cale Martin went on to play for the Chicago Cardinals, world champion from Winsboro, Louisiana. Martin Brothers Ice Cream. They wanted him to replace Johnny Weissmuller as Tarzan. That's how athletic this man was. And but he had an accident, ruptured his spleen. He missed the screen test, didn't get to do it. But I got to grow up calling him Uncle Cale. And I tell you what, man, it is just it's a beautiful thing.
So the scholarships were held open for 22 players.
That's
your
right.
father and 21 others go to war. That's after 2 seasons he played under Joe Aillet, left in the Marines, was in the South Pacific, returning to play for those final couple of years. What stories do you recall that maybe your father maybe didn't share much? I don't know. But what do you remember about Pops telling you about the war and his time overseas?
So Dad talked a lot about the trip over, which was on a cargo vessel that was designed to hold 700 people. They had 1,800 Marines on it. He talked about the journey over. He talked about downtime on the island of Saipan, and he talked about the trip back. He talked about nothing in between, and we'll never fully understand what those guys went through. One rainy Sunday morning, Tanya and I got up and turned on the History Channel, and it was a show was on, a documentary called Against All Odds, and it was the amphibious landing at Tarawa. And Dad was part of that landing, and we got to see in black and white exactly what he went through. And in the later months, when he was at the Veterans Home in Bossier, those last 7 months, when he started to deal with some of the aging issues, the dementia, that's one of the first times he opened up about some of that, and just brought us closer. And just a great man.
Your father was also a terrific high school coach, one of the winningest coaches in Northwest Louisiana high school history, from Fair Park principal in the 70s also. And I know he had retired young, and you talked about getting up early and doing work, and he made himself, available to you and the family. And that, combined with the influence of the war, I know was instrumental in the upbringing that you had and the man that you had become because of who Clem Henderson was.
That's right. You know, and it's interesting. You mentioned the coaching at Fair Park High School. Leon Barmore showed up in my office a few months ago, and Leon said, you know, you're always talking about my '82 team, and I saw that team play in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and maybe the greatest basketball team of any gender, of any level ever, just playing the game the way it was designed to be played with Kim Mulkey and Angela Turner and Pam Kelly and Janice Lawrence and Laurie Scott, and you could go on and on about that team. And Leon says, I want to talk about your dad's '63 team with Jimmy Pruitt and Charles Beasley and Andy Fullerton and Danny Walker and Roger Hicks, naming them off like it was yesterday. And he said, I've redshirted that year, and every chance I could go to Shreveport to watch that team play, I would go. And what brings that full circle is Dad's best player on that team was a guy named Jimmy Pruitt. Well, Charles Beasley was phenomenal, but Jimmy Pruitt played on that team, and that's who I'm named after. And Leon recruited Jimmy Pruitt to come to Tech. Scotty Robertson, who was Dad's big rival at Byrd, came to Tech. Jimmy and Leon roomed together for 4 years. They were the backcourt on the 1967 Gulf States Conference team. And so Leon's telling me that story, then he reaches in his bag and he pulls out this shadow box with his '82 national championship ring and presents that to me. He says, I thought you might want to have this. So it sits on a coffee table in my office as one of my most prized possessions. But that connection that, again, originated with my father. And so Dad would come, I'd come home from school and he'd say, boy, get your work clothes on. And put on my work clothes. And we would work, if you could call it work.
Right.
But it was really just a bond, and I learned what it was to be a man from that guy. And he was best man at my wedding because he was the best man I ever knew.
That's beautiful. And that pours through you, even in our short time of knowing each other over the last 3+ months since I've got here. I mean, it's obvious you're a man of character, you know, who deeply cares about people. And I know that's the way your father operated, both through his coaching style and, of course, with the family, building character. These are all virtues of Joe I.A., right?
That's
instilling it in your father. And it is now, you know, been put onto you in the way that you operate each and every day. I love the story in the Shreveport Times I read about him coaching basketball, how his teams would wear weighted Converses in the offseason.
Weighted Converses. He had also practiced without a basketball. He had a 3-pound medicine ball. And of course, you can't dribble a medicine ball.
No.
You got to pass it. And he believed so much in passing. And that's why his teams, many times in the 50s, were scoring over 80 points a game, no shot clock, no three-point line. But moving that basketball, moving up and down the court, they ran. And I was looking at that '63 record. He beat one team out of the Ouachita Parish 110-37. I said, Dad, why didn't you substitute? He said, I did, but they only knew one way to play basketball, and that was scoring points. And so that was, you know, yeah. He had a lot of innovative things. He also had a rebounding rim that he would put on there that would shrink. You know, a basketball hoop can fit 2 basketballs at one time.
Yeah.
A rebounding rim is just barely big enough for a basketball to go through. But people like Beasley and Pruitt and Danny Walker and even Andy Fullerton got so precise with their shooting, they were making it through that rebounding rim. And so you had to figure out another innovation to help with that practice.
I don't know if you're implementing weighted Adidas sneakers or tennis shoes into your own routine, because your lifestyle, it is one of high fitness, because you get after it out there at the tennis complex. What kind of, where did the love for tennis start from?
Well, it started with Dad. He put a Pancho Gonzalez wooden racket in my hand when I was 3 years old, and we lived around the corner from the Shreveport Country Club. We'd go spend a lot of time out there. And then after the years, you know, you get away from it. Then I had a son who decided he wanted to start playing tennis, and he took a lesson or two. My goodness, with I just drew a blank on his name, but with a great coach from Captain Shreve and Woodlawn, Lee Hedges, who was a quarterback speaker. He hired A.L. Williams to help him at Woodlawn High School. Of course, storied, and everybody knows A.L., how great they were. But he taught my son a few lessons in tennis, and then my son is one who learns visually. So he would watch old Wimbledon matches on YouTube, and potentially got better and better and better. So he's now 22. He only wants to play his old man.
Is this Alexander?
Alexander.
That's who I met when I came over to the complex in July to meet you for the first time. You were dripping sweat, so was he. You showed me your watch, how many calories you had been burning, how much time you were out there. I think it was over 5 hours.
He insists on playing 5 sets, and that's it. If I beat him in 3, then he wants to play best of 7. And he only wants to play in the heat of the day, noon or 1 o'clock. And he thinks he can beat his old man that way. And it's so much fun because he's so competitive and he's gotten so much better. I used to play about 80% against him, and wouldn't let him win, but let him stay close enough that he could. Now it's 100% just to stay in the match, and it's a lot of fun. But I got out on the field the other day. Tanya and I had been doing some laps in Hideaway Park, beautiful park, and I said, what? I said, I think I want to go walk some bleachers, and she said, okay. I'm not. She went home. I get out on the field, and I said, what? I think I'm going to do 10 100-yard gassers just to see if I'm in shape on this new turf. And I said, I'm going to do them all under 20 seconds, and I'll give myself 30 seconds to a minute in between. First one, piece of cake, man, blew it. Second one, third one, I was feeling a little bit. By number 6, I thought I was going to die. And I'm going to lay down on this turf that is a great innovation. It is 15 degrees cooler than regular turf. I laid down for a minute and then finally got enough strength to walk up the hill and die on the couch at home. But it was fitness is important, exercise is important, but I'm getting older, and you just don't recuperate in between sets or in between reps like you used to.
How many university presidents are out there at the football stadium on the field running 100-yard gassers?
Well, it was brought me back to what listen. I can't go to a practice and think, man, sure, I could play with these guys. I think any person that's ever played the game of football and understands that brotherhood, that closeness, what it means to hold hands with the guys in the huddle and to go out and set up a goal line defense and tell that opponent, you are not coming into this end zone. There's nothing like it. You can't replace it. And so that longing, that desire, that thinking that you could still compete is really just a longing for what you once had. And wanting to be part of it with this current team. And I went through it with my sons playing football, certainly with the Bulldogs today. It's what a joy it is. And I just one play. Let me just see how it would work.
Do you have an impassioned speech scheduled for the team ahead of homecoming?
I don't write speeches ahead of time. I want to feel the audience. I want to make sure that we're in sync with each other, because that's when you can really reach that deep, authentic part of you that really has a message. I hope that I'll get a chance to visit with them for just a few minutes and impart to them the importance of homecoming, not for an institution, but for the people that are that institution and that they are part of. They're part of that family now. They're going to come back. We have our former Bulldogs come back all the time to enjoy this environment and to reconnect with the institution. That's going to be them one day. We want them coming back with that sense of pride that comes from giving everything you got to achieve victory. And I'm very confident that they are going to put some things together on that Halloween night and make us all proud.
And in spite of the most recent game and the result, which was in overtime against Western Kentucky, I mean, I'm curious your thoughts of how you've assessed the way the team has performed to this point, because I think it was well evidenced in front of a national television audience on a Tuesday night. This team has all the grit, all the resilience in the world, but it comes down to 1, 2, maybe 3 plays and maybe some things out of your control. But man, does this team play and fight hard all the way through the end.
They do. And this team has given us a lot of moments to be proud this year. They went down to Baton Rouge and they put forth a fight that I heard from my friends in that area that they couldn't believe how well Tech played. They played some great games here, went on the road, overcame some obstacles, did well, got to Kennesaw State. That was the first time you saw them slip up a bit, and they played a great first quarter. The rest of the game got away from us. We had some injuries. We had some ball bounces that went against us, and we didn't respond very well. Last night, I thought that they responded quite well, especially in that second half when they made some adjustments on defense, really stepped up. Offense was moving the ball. I'm still angry at a targeting call, and I get challenged a little bit on X or whatever we call Twitter these days from people who said, have you even read the targeting rule? I have read the targeting rule, every letter of it, so many times I can recite it from memory. I understand every aspect of targeting, and this was the most egregious targeting call I have ever seen, and it changed the game. Now listen, a game is not lost or won because of one official's call. I want to be clear on that. Players have to execute. Coaches have to make the right decisions. There's all kinds of things that happen. And this team that we played, Western Kentucky played a great game. Their quarterback, freshman, he played an extraordinary game. Very proud of him. But we had a player disqualified from the game for a foul that did not exist. And it wasn't one of these like calling balls or strikes where you have a second to react. You have moments to reflect. You have a rule that is there that sets out exactly what the standard is, and they missed the call. And that's unfortunate. There should be accountability. I'm one that wants to empower our officials with training, the best possible training, but I want it to come with a system of accountability. And when you miss something that's that egregious, maybe you don't officiate again for a little while.
This man loves Tech. Is there any university president that loves his athletics programs, his football team, his university as much as Dr. Jim Henderson?
Wow.
You are very present on Twitter, on X. That's what I love. I think a lot of people love that because you are accessible, you are available, you use your voice. And yeah, fans can have some fun in the best and worst ways. Certainly the opposing fan bases, I'm sure, are sneaking into your mentions. But Dr. J.B. Henderson is how you can find Dr. Henderson on Twitter, on X. So, yeah, you can maybe do more of a deep dive and see what Dr. Henderson is referring to the last time the Bulldogs were on the field. But they'll have to flip the page, and you get another opportunity. You got 5 more games during the regular season, and this team is just 2 wins away from bowl eligibility. And I think we all would be ignorant to not say that this team still has special things in front of them. The ceiling is still somewhat limitless, okay? It becomes a little more challenging. You might need some help inside the league, but still this team can do some very big things this year.
We have 5 games left, and we can win all 5 games. Same token, you can lose all 5 games, right? And so this team has got to decide what they want to be remembered for. You know, they've got some challenges. They're going to have to go out to the East Coast and play in Delaware. And a week later, somehow we're going to get an 18-wheeler from Delaware to Spokane, Washington.
About 38 hours from Newark, Delaware to Pullman, Washington.
It's almost the same distance to Houma, Louisiana. It is a long drive. But when we get out there, I think they're going to compete against a Power 4 school. Wants to be a Power 4 school.
Sure.
And we'll see how they perform. And when they get on that stage, they'll do well. But they've got 4 conference games left that they can still do a lot. And they can get a great bowl game. And they can go out as proud Bulldogs, part of this legacy of tremendous football teams that we've had, going back over 100 years now. And so I'm excited to see what this team can do. Here's the good part. They control their destiny. Nobody, not an official, not a coach, nobody can affect this team's destiny more than each individual can as they work in concert to try to achieve victory. And I'm an eternal optimist, and I'm a notorious homer. So don't think I'm giving an unbiased opinion at all. But I like this team, and I like what it's going to do to finish this year.
I love it. You always are carrying that passion bucket with you. I don't want to get you any more hot over the officials, though. So let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Another note on your family. As much as you love Tech, I don't think there's really truly any way to measure the amount of love that you have for your grandbabies.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Tanya and I got to spend a weekend with them in Miami. We had an off week in football, and my daughter and her husband were driving down to Key West for a honeymoon. And so we decided we'd keep the kids for 2 or 3 days, and just had an absolute ball. You know, Zachary is 5, the twins, Miguel and Maria are 4. Little Lucille will be 3 in December, but they are constant, perpetual motion. We took them to Miami Zoo, which is great. Happened to be a great weekend because Louisiana Tech soccer, Bulldog soccer, was playing at FIU about 6 minutes from my daughter's home. We got to take them out there in their Tech gear. You see these 4 kids running around Miami in Tech gear all the time. My daughter's Suburban has a beautiful Louisiana Tech license plate on the front. Really stands out in that beautiful town, and so it was a great time for us. Those young people, the boys are going to be eventual signees for Lane Burroughs. I think class of 37 is when Zachary will be coming in, and he's dominating the 6-year-old league in Miami. Now that's a town where you have a Major League Baseball player hiding behind every tree, if you can just identify them. So it's a great place to grow up and love sports. They're Dolphins fans, they're Heat fans, they're Marlins fans. They love Cade Gibson. I think he is the guy that they want to be. And so it's, I'll talk about them the rest of the couple of hours we're going to be together.
Yeah, we got to get Cade Gibson on Tech Drive. I know he's in town now, so I'm talking to Matt Thorne on that. Maybe we can get him to come up in the next few weeks while he's back in Ruston. And Lane Burroughs and the Diamond Dogs will be at FIU, I think, early April. I think it's that first week of April. I'll be there as well. Look forward to taking in, hopefully, yourself and the rest of the family.
Perfect week. It's Easter break. It's Easter weekend. We're going to be down there waiting for the bunny rabbit to come by. We'll be wearing blue or red every day that weekend. going to a lot of baseball games and watching these Diamond Dogs perform. I tell you what, this is going to be a baseball team. You know, Sebastian Mexico had a great offseason. So many of these guys are putting so much effort into honing their craft, getting better. Lane's brought in some arms that are going to make a difference. He's got some coaching support that's going to help them. I'm as much as I love football and basketball, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of that. This baseball season is going to be one to remember.
Yeah, Trey Halsey, Sebastian
Trey.
Mexico, Cade Patterson,
Yes,
a couple arms from Florida State. I mean, it is a physical team. I mean, you got the hair already standing up, you know, on the back of my neck, which happens anytime Lane Burroughs speaks, the Lane train. I mean, he's incredible. But that fall game we had against Mississippi College recently, there were a few hundred people out there at the Love Shack. I mean, it was incredible. It just speaks to the power of the brand.
What a great venue, the Love Shack. And you mentioned, and look, if I evaluate coaches with one measure, would I want my son to play for that coach? And you got Lane Burroughs, and then you got a whole big gap before I would name anyone else. He is that kind of leader, that kind of coach, cares about these players. He develops these players. He prepares them not just for the continuation of their career, he prepares them for life. And that's what you want in a coach. And he surrounds himself with coaches that feel that same way. And, you know, I start getting to know the players through their walk-up songs. Trey had an interesting pick last year. Anyone that speaks Spanish will understand what I'm talking about. But I love the personality of these guys, and it's reflected in that. And you feel like you're developing a relationship with them. As you know, we did with Georgie Corona, a great catcher out of Miami. I felt like Georgie was like my adopted son, and I think so many fans develop that personal relationship with these guys because you're so close to them, you know. And so yeah, it's. Tech baseball, Bulldog baseball is something to be very proud of.
I don't want to belabor the point, but how many, again, university presidents can speak with as much enthusiasm about athletics as Dr. Jim Henderson? Your Tech family, and it very much is a family as you lead the movement for this university and continuing to innovate into the future. The people on campus, the other administrative talent, faculty, staff members, the athletic department. This campus wouldn't be what it is and will continue to be without the students that choose to come here and be a part of this university.
That's right. We had another very large freshman class. So we've had the three biggest freshman classes in our 130-year history these last 3 years, over 12,100, about 150 students. Continuing to grow. We're going to have the largest timeout for Tech gathering ever the day after homecoming this year. That's how many students have already signed up for that. So the growth is going to continue, and they're good students. You know, we have 150 students that qualify for the TOPS Excellence Award, which is the newest award. It comes to those that only get a 31 or higher on their ACT. We've got a mailer going out to all 1,200 that are in Louisiana this year that have achieved that same thing to get them to come to Tech. We believe that we are the choice for students that have achieved academically, that want to be challenged, that want to experience experiential learning firsthand from the school that does it better than any. We think we're their optimum choice. And the students that we get here come with a core belief system that really defines this campus. Now look, that belief can be diverse. It comes from a number of backgrounds, but they come here because they want to be something better. They want to maximize their potential. And that's what distinguishes us. And we have faculty that lean into that. Faculty that truly base their careers on the development of others that are coming behind them. And it's a recipe for just tremendous institutional success that leads to fulfillment of a mission that impacts all of us.
And we know so many of the students, faculty, administrators, friends, family are all shopping at Patton's Western Wear and Patton's downtown because why not? Dress to impress. Deck yourself and the fam out with everything you need to rep Tech. That's something I'm trademarking. I need to get the t-shirts made. I'll talk to the Patton family for sure. But styles, brands for everyday life, the job, game days, and any occasion, including the outdoorsman in you. You can find it all when you shop locally at Patton's, a North Louisiana tradition since 2007. Dr. Henderson, I made the comment when Ryan Ivey was on the program about a month ago. I don't think there is a more dynamic duo when it comes to university president and director of athletics in the entire country. I mean, that president-AD combo between you and Ryan Ivey is incredible. How would you describe y'all's relationship and the synergy in which both of you operate with?
Well, I've told the story before. You know, it was one of my first decisions I got to make as president was choosing an athletic director. And, you know, we're going through that process, and a lot of it is on Zoom. I'm taking Tanya to Houston to see the Eagles in concert for about the 5th or 6th time. And I said, you know what, we got to drive through Nacogdoches, Texas. I'm going to call this guy just to see if he's got a minute that I could put eyes on him and have a cup of coffee. And we pull up to a Starbucks on the SFA campus, and I'm wearing an obnoxiously royal blue blazer in a car with a Louisiana Tech #1 license plate. So very, very incognito. We come in, everybody there is wearing SFA colors, lumberjack stuff. And then here comes Ryan Ivey, and he shakes hands with every person in the restaurant. And he sits down across from me. And after about 2 minutes, I said, this is the guy. This is the guy. And he has proven it right. He is such a professional. He has high expectations for his coaches, for his players, for his staff. But those expectations are no higher than the ones he has for himself. When we introduced him, I gave him his job description. I said, this is the description for the job. This is Louisiana Tech. He has taken it. He has embodied this, and he is continuing to elevate us. Brought in some great folks around him. Hunter Geisman is our CFO for athletics, doing a great job. Wally Crittenden is amazing. Wally has got so many ideas. He's so positive. And this whole team that he has built in around Tech athletics is going to elevate this program in a very challenging time for collegiate athletics. It's such a dynamic moment. So many changes and so many things that don't make sense. We're making sense of, and we're seizing that opportunity to elevate this brand, this athletic program, and I'm so proud of Ryan and love working with him.
And for those that are listening, Dr. Henderson had just picked up the Joe Aillet book, again, written by Chris Kennedy, just an incredible resource about everything Louisiana Tech and certainly Joe Aillet and the history really of this community and, how really the foundation of the athletic history, so much of it is embedded with Joe Aillet. You talk about incognito. How incognito are we going to be for the homecoming game on Friday night? What are we wearing? Do we have a costume?
Yeah, so, I've got a beautiful black suit with my royal blue Adidas shoes, and I've got I don't know if it's one of a kind, but I dare say I've never seen anyone else wear it. It is a black T-shirt with a glow-in-the-dark bulldog skeleton on it that is just the perfect attire for Halloween. I think we'll see a lot of students in costumes, I hope. I'm not sure if Techie is going to be wearing a costume. I'm not sure we have one that'll fit him, or a bow tie that'll go around that nose tackle's neck that he has. Champ might be in costume. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. There'll be a couple videos that you'll get to see that might surprise you if they work. And again, we're going to lean in and make it a special homecoming for everybody.
Is there any better live mascot than Tech 12?
Oh my gosh, Tech 22 is
Tech 22.
Tech 22.
Yes, excuse me.
He came out. We had the Board of Regents on campus yesterday, policy-making board for the state of Louisiana for higher education. Very serious conversations, but their interest was, can Techie come visit? And of course, Heath Timms and the Timms family that does a great job housing Techie, and the Techie handlers brought him up, and these people were just gushing over this bulldog. Then at the football game, the Loyola College Prep team from Shreveport came in. We helped them as they moved to having their first live mascot, beautiful little beagle named Flyer to complement Snoopy. We introduced Flyer on the football field with his best friend Tech right next to him, and it's just, we've got a live mascot that you can pet. There's one in Baton Rouge, but if you pet him, you're going to pull back a nub. Ours is one that becomes part of the family, and I really love that puppy. It's the one dog on the planet that likes me more than my wife, and that is I will carry that badge with me for as a badge of honor.
That's amazing. Sorry, the voice of the Bulldogs is challenged with Roman numerals, so that's not my strong suit. As I look down, I'm like, okay, is this right?
That's right. But Tech 22, you know the story about me getting Tech 9's collar. That's in our 1894 magazine. A Gentleman and a Collar is the headline, which I thought was just a fabulous bit of creativity from our university comms team. A great story how my son got that collar sent to us. All 22 of these dogs had a different personality, bring different energy to campus. Tech 22 has been here 7 years now, and he comes to. He might make a surprise appearance at a commencement every so often, but truly part of this campus, and what a great job he has done. He's a good pup all the way through.
Well, we are truly blessed to have you, Dr. Jim Henderson, and Tanya here to lead this university. You have been incredibly gracious with your time here today on Tech Drive. Homecoming week It is headlined, again, by the football game, 7 o'clock kickoff at Joe IA Stadium. Tech tailgate along the radio network will begin at 5:30, but there are so many other great things. You got a 21st Hall of Fame class that's being inducted on Saturday night. Also, the Bradshaw Brooks golf tournament. Will you be golfing on Friday?
You know, I play golf about once every 2 years, and I just don't seem to get better at it. And so I'm going to spare everyone that. But I will tell you, this Hall of Fame class has some great ones in there, but it has a very special person to me coming in. That's the great Ronnie Alexander. And I used to Dad would drive me down from North Arkansas to football camps. Here, of course, at A.L. Williams football camp, and the one down the road that was another Tech legend, Pat Collins, would run. And Ronnie Alexander was the defensive backs coach. And we'd get there Sunday afternoon. By Sunday evening, Ronnie's voice was already hoarse. He wore those mirrored sunglasses. And I've never been more intimidated by a coach, but also more inspired to perform than for Ronnie Alexander. And he was just a legend for Tech, and I'm glad he's going into the Hall. He deserves it.
So thankful to have you here on Tech
Yes,
Drive.
sir.
Dr. Jim Henderson, thank you.
My pleasure, Kyle. Thank you for being here, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Appreciate all you tuning in, watching La Tech Athletics YouTube page for Tech Drive. Of course, wherever it is that you podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is, thank you. For GB, for Carson, Jack, Kyle Cavanaugh, of course, Dr. Jim Henderson. I'm the voice of the Bulldogs. Kyle Schasberger will be not at Rotolo's Craft and Crust for Inside Bulldog Football this week. It'll be a 12 o'clock show at the Student Center. If you can't be there, listen on Sports Talk 97.7. And a special apparel drop. This is big news. This is a watershed moment for athletics. We've partnered up with Home Field Apparel. Go to homefieldapparel.com. That is now live. A lot of vintage items can be accessible. It's one-of-a-kind type stuff. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you again for joining us for this homecoming edition of Tech Drive.